still remember like it was yesterday. The one thing that never leaves me is just the sheer force. Being so close, the force of that explosion just knocked me to the ground instantly. The flash of the explosion, it was blinding. The sound was just deafening. I've never heard anything like it in my life, and the perforated eardrums instantly. My hands were a mess because they'd melted away because of the burns to a degree. And I looked over my left shoulder and I saw I was on fire, so it was just panic stations then, just thoughts of desperation to get out of the building as quickly as possible. To eventually make it out the front alive, just so fortunate. An evacuation process was set in place very early. I was flown home here to Melbourne and obviously to the Alfred Hospital, and from that moment on, that's when the battle really began. Straight into intensive care, multiple operations, all the skin grafts. So that's when I found out I had burns to 50% of my body. The enormity of what took place, I was so banged up that I just had to be so positive. I didn't know whether I would get there, but I was just hopeful all the way through. The Alfred Hospital was just so pivotal in my whole recovery. I often wonder how I would have been able to get through and gone about it if it wasn't for that amazing support of everyone involved at the Alfred Hospital. I don't know, it felt like part of the family in a way. They just go above and beyond. So there's people there that will remain very close and dear to our hearts because of what they did for me and Narissa and our family. They got me up and about and going and on the road to recovery really quickly. I exceeded my own expectations. I was back a couple of weeks earlier. I had some pretty good form and I had a good level of fitness, and yeah, I was ready to play, that's for sure. Just had to get selected. When I got to the club on Monday in the morning, I found out then, which was just unbelievable news. But what I would say with that night was really emotional, because that's probably the first time you thought about, and we spoke about, never looking back and what happened, just soldiering on, just pushing ahead and all the goals. Well, then it was the realisation, I'm actually going to be able to do this. And your mind just was flooding back to what happened and how lucky you are and the people that helped you and the people that were injured. And so that was an emotional, a really emotional night, and then prepare for a Friday game. Playing Friday, we'd always have a team meeting Friday morning. And then after that, we'd break as a leadership group. There was 8 of us. We'd have a bit more of an in-depth meeting, and that's when I told the other 7 leaders that win, lose or draw this game, I'd be retiring. The physical side of bashing into bodies, hitting the ground. Every time I trained or played, I would, body contact sport, I'd break open the grafted skin. So you go through this process of patching it up. So I wasn't doing myself any favours, really.
Tonight, we see the return of a hero. This man, covered in the precious suit, he returns to top-flight AFL football, a symbol to all those touched by the tragedy of Bali. Welcome back indeed, Jason McCartney, an inspiration to all.
Well, that is fantastic. The spirit is alive and well. The Richmond cheer squad get to their feet.
Taken down by Bell. Brown again, got it to King. Penetrating kick inside the 50. McCartney behind. What a start to the term it would be. Jason McCartney knows how to kick them.
Everyone in the crowd here is celebrating that.
He kicks inside the 50. Down towards full forward, runs the ball. McCartney toe pokes it. Picked up by Harding. He goes in. Another lead change.
There was only 7 other guys on the field that night that knew I'd be finishing, and they rose to another level. They were making sure that, in a way, that was my grand final. That was my premiership, and what a way to go out.